Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Wave. I want to welcome you as we walk through the Game Fives, and as you know, Game Five is one of the most pivotal games in a best of seven. I forget the exact number, but I'd say majority of the time, teams that go on to win the fifth game usually go on to win the series. So let's go ahead and break down what we went and saw in the last couple days. We'll start with the first game, which was the Milwaukee Bucks Indiana Pacers. This series has been just a nightmare for the Milwaukee Bucks in the sense that Giannis has been playing really good, and there's been production from other players like Gary Trent and Bobby Portis, but Damian Lillard also got hurt, and they even switched up their lineup. They took AJ Green off the bench, and they moved Lopez. They're like, we got to go to a different lineup. Same thing with Kuzma, and it was a little. It had some success because if we saw the lineup they went out there with in the first I say quarter, they were up by like 20, 30 points, you know. And this game could really be summed up to just like from hero to zero, and I'm referring to Gary Trent Jr. He had the game high of 33, but in a loss, and the loss came it literally when with the Pacers were up for a majority of the first half, and then Indiana came back. I mean, they're at home. You do expect um, Milwaukee down 3-1 to put up some fight, and they did. And Indiana, they just had to defend home turf. And when they went to overtime, they were up by 7 and 40 seconds left to go, and just a string of back to back turnovers and bad defense, and you get the score that you get now. Like Milwaukee had a 60% odds or 60% chance of winning. You know how they conduct or calculate their win probability. They had a 60% with 17 seconds left. It literally went to zero when Gary Trent Jr. turned over the ball. So that just defines what we were seeing the whole year. Like mishaps, miscues, and just you know just poor execution, honestly. And let's go ahead and take a look at the Indiana Pacers. Surprisingly, Pascal Siakam didn't have a crazy game. You know, he still had a plus minus of one out there, but only 10 points, 5 for 12 shooting, a little bit on the inefficient side. Neesmith, he played really well. Same thing with Turner, with 21 and 9, and Nimhard, he's definitely good. Halliburton, he was the star of the show, 26 and 9 with 5 rebounds. Definitely showed that he's not overrated. I know he was getting a little bit of hate for that. And TJ McConnell, definitely a great spark plug off the bench. To me, he's like Pritchard without the shooting. But if Pritchard had his tenacity, which he does, don't get me wrong, but TJ McConnell is just such an inside scoring threat. Like he can lay the ball up, he can get a little midi shot. If Pritchard could add that to his game, he would be one of the best guards in the NBA. That teams would be like, yo, I'll pay for this guy. So go ahead and see what they do in the offseason. We'll go ahead and take a look at Milwaukee and their plans moving forward. Again, I'll reiterate that I do not feel that Giannis will or should pick up his player option. I think that, like I said, he's given them over 10 years of service. Damian Lillard's hurt. This roster is a little older. It's time to see greener pastures and just trying to see where you can win. And also, don't expect the Milwaukee Bucks to just let him walk. They're definitely having the convo with him now, and whoever he decides to go or sign, they will be signing and trading. So they got to get something out of this. They can't just let him walk. So great fight by Indiana. They're going on to face the Cleveland Cavaliers. Yeah, and it's gonna be a slug match. It's gonna be an interesting series. I think I saw the last 2 games of the season, and Indiana did beat Cleveland twice. But this is the postseason, so let's see what happens. That series is definitely a little interesting. Tyrese Halliburton versus Donovan Mitchell and Cleveland Cavaliers. You know, it's definitely some. We're gonna see. We're gonna see. But yeah, game five. Well, and then there was the whole incident at the end. I don't want to get into semantics. I don't know exactly what um, Therese Halliburton's father said. Um, but yeah, it's just a little bit of an unnecessary add-on. I understand that emotions are high. You want to win these games. And he might have said something a little bit inappropriate, but you got to keep your composure there. Fighting, pushing, shoving. It's not a good look to tack on to the fact of you losing. Poor sportsmanship from both Halliburton's father, Giannis, the Bucks, the Pacers. There should be no fighting. You should be fighting on the court with the ball by putting it in the basket. So let's go ahead and see what happens in round two. But congratulations to the Indiana Pacers. They went ahead and knocked off the Milwaukee Bucks. And yeah, we'll start taking a look at what the Bucks should be doing in their offseason. Look at their roster, see how they can make some changes. And yeah, well, we're glad that series is wrapped up. All right, next on the slate was the Detroit Pistons versus the New York Knicks. Knicks at home after winning back-to-back games on the road. Um, I'm going to be the first one to say it. I was anticipating the New York Knicks to close the series out here. And this game, I have to say that the Detroit Pistons. This game, the Detroit Pistons demonstrated that they can close out a game. Okay, they were up I think they were up by 6. OG Anunoby, crazy three, smothered. I don't know how he hit that. He gave them a little bit of life towards the end of the game. But my biggest takeaway was just some bad execution, some bad play. Like, I seen bad play. Karl-Anthony Towns didn't have the best game, a little inefficient, 5-14. He was getting to the free throw line with Brunson, but again, it's just on the defensive side. He had a triple-double, in fact. No, cap, a lot. He had a double-double with 17 and 11, but again, inefficient numbers, 14 shots, only 5 field goals, and not playing defense clearly. So OG Anunoby, he had 19, but again, the lineups he was a part of was just not scoring. So it's just tough to see. Mitchell Robinson off the bench was good. He was giving them some life. He had 13 and 11, 2 blocks, 2 steals. So that's definitely a great match. From the three, the Knicks didn't really outshoot them. In terms of volume, they did. I mean, in percentage, they hit one more three and they took less. So on a percentage basis, they scored more threes than they did, and more field goals. But you could clearly see that the Pistons got to the free throw line 36 times versus the Knicks 27. And again, I'm not a guy that likes to be like fouls, but the Pistons had 24 fouls, but went to the free throw line 36 times. Whereas the Knicks had 27 fouls. So let me get this straight. 27 fouls from the Knicks, 36 free throws, 24 and 27 free throws. It's a little strange. Again, I do not blame officiating. I don't care. Not that I don't care about officiating, but don't leave it up to the refs. That's where you're playing a bad game if you're gonna cry and say you left it up to the refs. Again, Dennis Schroeder, he had allowed 14 off the bench. Yeah, this is just a little strange. Like it's like what really made the Knicks lose, and it's just the Pacers. I keep saying Pacers. Pardon me, the Pistons. They just closed the game out like they were supposed to. If their game one went like this, the series wouldn't even be looking like this. It would actually be, I think they would be up right now. So it's just it's tough. It's tough. They're a scrappy team and they're not going away without a fight. And the Knicks need to squeeze one out. Again, if you look at all their victories, the only game that was like margin of victory was double digits was game one for the Knicks. After that, it was everything is 2, 1, 3. Like, and I watch a lot of football. This reminds me of the Chiefs, like when they were playing and they were winning every game by like a margin, which is great. But the world has a balancing act, so it's like you win by 6, you win by 3, you lose by 3. You win by 1, you're gonna lose by 1, and the Knicks just keep putting themselves in that teetering in that space. Winning a game by 1, and so I think the Knicks got to close it out at least again double digits on the road. I will make an exception if the Knicks get the double digit victory on the road. I will not consider their run a fluke. So let's go ahead and see what they decide to do. Again, yeah, Detroit's a good team. Tobias Harris 17. Thompson, he definitely played well. We're gonna get to the other Thompson twin, but they both had good nights. Good game fives, I should say. And yeah, Cade Cunningham with 24. It was just overall good effort by the Pistons, playing good D, locking up again with 9 blocks versus the Knicks actually had 10 blocks this time, so they even came to play even more, but it just wasn't enough. Yeah, the Knicks. This was just a little bit of a meltdown. The Knicks played really well. I still cannot really comprehend how they lost this game. And the game down to some decisions and poor execution again, just like the Indiana Pacers game. So let's see what they do. They play. I don't remember. I think they play on Thursday. Yeah. So let's see how they respond. Their response is everything. So. Again, I still have the Knicks in 6. I see them winning the next game. I understand Detroit was scrappy, but I don't know. I don't see them going and winning back-to-back games on the Knicks like that. The Knicks, I do hope they wake up and play a little. This isn't even a bad game from your starters. It's just like it's not enough. You know what I mean? It's not enough. 4 for 16 shooting from Brunson. I'm like, we can't ignore that. 25% from the field from everywhere. Field goals was really, free throws is how he was really getting his points. He really didn't play well. So let's chalk it up to Jalen Brunson just not doing his thing out there. Let's see what they do. Again, I'm going to repeat it. Game 6. We'll see how that goes. Knicks should be closing it out in Detroit. Okay, next on the slate, Orlando versus Boston. And again, like I said in my previous video, if Orlando didn't win by 3 or less, they weren't winning this game. And you can definitely see, like, if you paid attention to the first half, they kept it close. As soon as Banchero got into some kind of foul trouble, the Boston Celtics just pulled away. Jason Tatum, he had a masterclass, 35. Jaylen Brown with 23. It's just when you have your stars combining for almost like 60 points, it's just you're in for a good night. Banchero, he had 19, but he did have some foul trouble. Him and Wagner as well, with 5 fouls, and it's just tough, honestly. Again, 3-point shooting is a problem. They hit only 8 for 38. They took more threes and made less. Boston was efficient, 13 for 24, getting to the free throw line. Balanced, active on the court. Pritchard with 10 off the bench. Hauser with 10 off the bench. Komet with about 10, almost 10 off the bench. And Keta, Craig, and Schemerman combining for 10 off the bench. So the bench put up a decent amount. Almost 40 points. Jaylen Brown came in as a complimentary with 23, 50% shooting. And Jason Tatum with 35 that's a great formula. And yeah, Kristaps Porzingis 9 points. Not too crazy. Playing some good defense out there. Same thing with Derek White. All the starters in plus 30 and plus minus territory. So locking in and scoring where they need to, and just doing what they have to do on the court. Go ahead and take a look at the Magic. Yeah, it's just again their 3-point shooting and their inexperience, naivete, all that stuff just plays into their them losing. Plus they're coming back to Boston's home court. It's a recipe for failure. No offense and no 3-point shooting specifically. It's easy to just throw some schemes at you, and when your best guy goes off the floor, that's what happens. You give up those kind of runs. So and you could see it like it was pretty competitive in the first half, and then as we jump over 36 and 37, they outscored them by 23 and then by 10. So so it's pretty lopsided second half. Again, Boston's going on. They're playing Indiana. No, they're playing the winner of the Detroit Pistons and Knicks game. So I mean Detroit Pistons Knicks. So my pick would be the Knicks that they would have to face in round two, and then the Knicks. It would have been great if they were able to close it out in game five, just to give themselves some rest. But let's do it in six, and then get ready for Boston next week. All right, the next game was the LA Clippers versus the Denver Nuggets, and my takeaway from this game was just like I had said in the previous video that Jamal Murray had been very inconsistent this series, and yeah, he came out this night, game five, and he dropped 43, and 43 with 5 rebounds, 7 assists. It was a great game from him overall. Jokic with 13, 10, and 12, triple-double numbers. Jamal Murray and him, perfect complementary piece. Aaron Gordon with 23 as well. The starters just came to play for the Denver Nuggets. They got a little bit of punch off the bench with Russell Westbrook, which I really, really love to see. 8 for 15, 50% shooting from the three-point line. So it was just, Denver was just really there to play. 17 threes overall. They got up 4 more shots. They made more shots than they did. And yeah, it was an even match on the rebounds, assists, and steals. It was really just the scoring of these players. Again, the starters just they did their thing that night. They came ready to play, and they came to show and defend their home court. So it's just good to see. Go ahead and take a look at the Clippers. Kawhi Leonard with 20, Zubac 27. The starters here did well, not playing that much defense. Obviously they're getting outscored by the other starters, but Nicholas Batum with 0 points off the bench. Bogdanovic was good with 18, 5 for 11. He was definitely a good spark there. But again, outside of the starters, not really much coming off the bench. And yeah, it was just a little bit. It was just a masterclass from Jamal Murray. Jamal Murray's 43 was a lot. It's just pretty insane. But it was definitely a great game. Russell Westbrook definitely helped him take it over the top off the bench. So it definitely came down to bench scoring, and Russell Westbrook's 21 was definitely loud enough to contribute to a win, and we saw it in dominant fashion. The Clippers did go on a little bit of a run at the end of the game, trying to come back into the game, and I think they had cut like a 20-point lead to like single digits at one point. But it was just a little too late. Jamal Murray with some tough shots, rising to the occasion. I think they said this is his like 5th or 6th 40-point game in the playoffs, so it's Jamal Murray definitely knows when to show up. This series, I was a little disappointed in what I saw, but this game 5 was definitely like could neutralize it. We can call it even, and we'll continue. With the Jokic Murray experiment for the foreseeable future. So let's take a look at the Clippers one last time. Again, Ben Simmons off the bench. Not it. Yeah, it's just this team, again, I have the Clippers in 7. I still do have that. I do have that. I've seen the Clippers be a dominant team. Denver's definitely formidable. But when they come to play like that, they're unbeatable. So yeah, we'll see what happens moving forward. But I'm taking Denver. I'm taking LA in 7. But Denver, they're a high-powered, high-octane team, so don't be surprised if they come out and close things. They could do that. So the Clippers have to read game plan. Harden, 3 for 9, 11 points. That doesn't help. Norman Powell 5 for 11, 5 for 12 points. That doesn't help. Chris Dunn played really well, 6 for 7, 15 points. Zubac again 27, 27 and 5, not bad at all. And Kawhi, 8 for 15, 20 points, not bad at all. So there's really Norman Powell and James Harden off the starting lineup that could have given him a little bit more, and they could have saw it was really the matchup between the guards that you've seen that 43 for Murray and Gordon with 23 and Powell with 12 and Harden with 11. Denver outscores that. So let's see how they do in Game 6. This series, I wouldn't be surprised if it went to 7. That's where my eyes are seeing. And yeah, we'll keep monitoring this series. This one has definitely been the most entertaining series of the playoffs. So let's go ahead and see what happens. All right, next on the slate, Golden State versus Houston. Obviously, I said in my previous video that Golden State could have closed this game out in Houston, but I wouldn't have been surprised if they lost because, again, when teams' backs are against the wall, you expect them to throw everything but the kitchen sink at them, and that's what Houston did. Amen Thompson, again, another Thompson twin, they with 25. Dylan Brooks, he had a good game with 24. Sengun didn't have a normal game for him, but he was definitely doing his thing on the defensive side of the ball. And, 15 points to contribute to the team. Fred VanVleet had another wake-up game because we definitely saw the first 4 games he was not playing, or the first 3 games he was not playing well at all. And even Jalen Green, he had 11, which, again, is still a little on the lower side for him, but it's definitely his team definitely came to support and hit down shots and all that. And yeah, it was just they came out ready to play. Amen Thompson with 25 and 6. It's just insane. Moses Moody had 25 off the bench with 50% shooting, so I thought that was amazing. But if your leading scorer is Moses Moody off the bench, then that's a problem. Pat Spencer, I saw he got into a little scuffle with a few Rockets players, and he was playing pretty good, 5 for 7. I like what I see out of him. Let's see if they decide to keep him and what they decide to do with him moving forward. But he definitely shows some signs. He did get into a little altercation with the Rockets, though. I want to see a little bit more from Quinton Post, and it's just it's pretty crazy. And again, only started with double digits is Steph Curry, and again, even his 13 came off of 4 for 12 shooting, 3 for 9 from 3. So it's a little on the underwhelming side. 7 assists is definitely great, but again, it's just not enough. He had the lowest plus minus on the negative side for the starter, so he was definitely doing everything he could. But if Buddy Hield's only giving you 4 and Podensky's only giving you 8, and Jimmy Butler's only giving you 8, like 2 for 10 shooting, like it's gonna be rough. So we'll see what they do. We'll see how they game plan. Definitely, when playing on a hostile turf, it's just sometimes some players don't show up, and we saw Moody come through. I remember I kept reiterating like, yo, Moody, keep your hands ready because you're gonna have to shoot and you're gonna have to score. So and it's starting to show. Again, I still have Golden State in 6. I see them going to Golden State, closing it out. Jimmy Butler's playing. They're going to come out scrappy, but, I don't see Steph Curry going 4 for 12, again, with 13 points. I definitely see 20 plus from him. But, shout out to Houston for taking the Game 5 victory. And, let's see what the Golden State Warriors decide to game plan and do in Game 6. And last but not least, the Minnesota Timberwolves and the Los Angeles Lakers. Again, this series definitely shocked me. I got my series wrong. I said the Lakers were going to win in 6. But that, unfortunately, is not the reality. LeBron will be going home in the first round. And the Lakers will be watching the rest of the playoffs coming for the next couple weeks. Julius Randle had his best series. In my opinion, he played really, really good. I definitely want to pull his numbers for this first round and see how he was playing. Rudy Gobert had a monster game. I know that he was under wraps for most of the series, but again, he still showed that he was an X factor. 27 points, 24 rebounds. It's just insane. It's just insane. Mike Conley with a dagger 3 to end the game. I was definitely very critical of him, and I still am very critical of Mike Conley. But he definitely came to perform tonight. So, and it's actually funny. Like They won by 7, and that's his plus minus, so he definitely was a factor for them winning. Naz Reid with 3, you can see a little bit more. DiVincenzo and Alexander Walker were definitely um, better off the bench, and it was just a masterclass from Rudy Gobert, honestly, and Julius Randle. They combined for 40 points, not even 50 points. Anthony Edwards add 15 to that, and then we're getting a little bit over 20 off the bench. So now let's go ahead and look at the Lakers, who have no bench, no depth. Gabe Vincent played 26 minutes, 3 rebounds, 2 assists. He only took 2 field goals. I'm not too sure what was going on out there. They literally only played 8 players, bro. They only played 8 people. And Austin Reeves, 12 points, 5 for 14. Not the best game for him. Luka Doncic, he had that. He was having some back issues, which I don't know if I buy it, but I don't know if that was the reason they lost. LeBron with 22, he had a scare where it looked like he had gotten injured at the end of the game. Hashimura with 23, not bad. Those 3 guys have been, Hashimura, LeBron, and Doncic, have been pretty consistent this series. Dorian Finney-Smith, he had 7 points. He was playing some good defense, but he did unfortunately foul out of the game. That's just not enough. The Lakers have not. The Lakers only scored above 101, twice? 95, 94, 104, 113, and then 96. They don't have enough offensive firepower on this team, and it's very obvious. Luka Doncic is cool, but we can start to see what the Dallas Mavericks were afraid of, and it's just he's great, but I don't know. There's just something off about him. I don't know. Luka Doncic is a cool player, but he takes a lot of shots. He gets he gets assists and stuff, but he makes the right read, but for himself. It's weird. I don't know how to describe it. He makes the right read for whatever he's going for. If he wants to get the rebound, the assist, but it's he's very containable, and he's too isolation heavy. I don't like players that only give their teammates the ball when they want them to score. Get them the ball so they can get some rhythm and they can feel the ball and their hands can feel oh man, I can actually play and shit, So there's a lot that needs to be addressed for the Los Angeles Lakers moving forward. Shout out to the Los Angeles Lakers for beating the Minnesota Timberwolves. The Minnesota Timberwolves beating the Lakers. It was definitely a great matchup, and Rudy Gobert definitely came to play. So we'll see we'll see what the Lakers decide to do in the offseason, and then we'll see what the Timberwolves, how they see. They're going to definitely face if I'm not mistaken, whoever wins the Rockets-Warriors. My pick would be the Warriors, so we'll go ahead and see how that looks. That team is, again, it's about size, and they have size, but Warriors have shooting, so it has the matchup potential. There's some excitement there, so let's go ahead and see what's in store. And with that, I think that's about it. I think that's every Game 5 that we've had. I think we're on to Game 6s. Some series have closed, like the Lakers and the Boston Celtics, and some have not. And we're going to get some Game 6s. So just be ready for the Game 6 videos. And with that, I want to thank you guys for joining the wave. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace out. Ciao. I'll see you guys later.